So is it BS to pay for programs online and to pay for advice? I've heard different people saying that, saying it's a scam. Well, think of it this way. If you wrote a book, let's say you wrote a New York Times best-selling book, and you sold 100,000 copies, right? So people paid about $2 million, 20 bucks a book. And you sell some of it as an ebook and sell some of it as an audiobook. So people go online and download it and watch it online. Is that a scam? Of course not. That's the wave of the future. Books are great, I love them. But I also realize that people are going online to get information. And it's no more a scam to pay for that than it is to pay for an audiobook or to read it on a Kindle or to, just read the information online. Now, is it a scam for the author to charge $20 a book for their New York Times best-selling book? Let's say you wrote a New York Times bestseller and you sell for 20 bucks. Right now, audiobooks also sell for $20. Is that a ripoff? No. The company has to make money. The author has to be paid back for his time. Servers' bills have to be paid. There's no scam to that. The real scam in this world is if you put money in and you don't get a return on your investment. People don't understand that it's not an expense if you make more back than what you put in. For example, if you bought a piece of real estate today, you invested in a piece of real estate and you paid $500,000 for a multi-unit property, and a year later you sold it for $700,000. Would you think of that $500,000 as a wasted expense, as a scam that you put 500 grand in? No, because you got more out of it than you put in. This is basic ROI 101. This is the financial stuff they don't teach people at school. So we have a world like my friend. I was in Barnes & Noble, and this guy's always been trying to figure out how to make money, really struggles making money. And there was a book. I said, buy this book. It's by Charlie Munger. It's a $100 book. But I didn't tell him how much it was. He got to the cash register. She rang it up, the cashier, and I think it was $120 actually. And he said, Tai, I'm not buying this book. It's expensive. $120. He said, it's expensive. What is this? Why is this guy? It's just a few pages. Is he scamming me? He could have sold this book for 10 bucks. That's all it cost to print it. I said, that's books by Charlie Munger. He made $1 billion, and he and Warren Buffett made a $300 billion company. He laid out his mindset, how he thinks things through, how he invests his money. I said to my friend, buy that book. He said, no, it's too much, it's too expensive. I said, how expensive is it to go through your whole life and realize you could have lived a better life? That's expensive. You'll never get those years back. And then I looked down at his shoes. I said, what kind of shoes you wearing? He said, I got some new Nikes. I said, how much did those cost? He said, about $100, $150. I said, what's the return on investment for your shoes? Because the day you buy them and start wearing them, they start decaying, they start degrading, they start depreciating. What can you sell a used pair of shoes for a year later that you paid $100 for? 30 bucks maybe, if you could find a buyer? Or buying Nikes a scam? Sure, you get some value when you wear them, but there's no long-term profit. You buy the right book, you pay for the right program, you can have a 10-fold, 100-fold, 1,000-fold. I can tell you from personal experience, the reason I sell programs online is because what got me into the internet game, the digital era, is buying a program by a guy named Corey Rudel. I put all my extra money that I had zero money. It was like $500 to $1,000 to buy his products. And I only remember one thing. In this course, he alerted me to the fact there was a new platform called Google AdWords. Go check it out. I don't remember anything from that course. So I went over to Google AdWords. At this time, I was making $0. I was unemployed. I had found a job in sales, but it was only commissions, and I didn't know how to make any money because I couldn't find leads. I couldn't find people to talk to. So I found this course, Corey Rudel. It came in the mail. It was before. Some of it was online. Some of it came in the mail. I remember reading. I said, let me go to Google AdWords. Well, it turns out I was one of the first people in history to use Google AdWords. Not because I was smart, but because I paid this guy for his intelligence, his intel, his ideas. I signed up for Google AdWords 1 month after it started. I began to spend $30 to generate a lead. $30. This is when I was in financial services. I worked for GE Financial, part of GE, the largest company in the world. And I shot from making no money to the #2 salesperson in the United States. The CEO of GE Financial called me up, John McGilchrist, from Atlanta, Georgia. He said, Tai, I got to talk to you. You're the youngest person who works for us. We're part of the largest company in the world, and you're now #2 in America. Are you doing something illegal? I didn't want to tell him what I was doing. I said, don't worry, John. I'm doing something perfectly legal. I had an advantage, a tactical competitive advantage that nobody else knew because I paid for the education and the knowledge to get it. I would spend 30 bucks My average commission 6 months later on a sale was $1,500. Spend $13. Is that an expense? No, that's an investment. I invested $500 in that course. I invested $30 into a lead, $1,500, $15. I was one of the early adopters. Now, if you try to do that on Google, because so many people are doing it, you'll only on average, you'll have to spend $1,200 to make $1,500 because so many people have saturated that market. So you also pay for online programs to find cutting edge information that not many people know. Was that worth the $500? Well, I shot from making $0, no college degree, no house, no car. In 9 months, I made $72,000. I went from zero, that's on pace to make $100,000 a year. I went from 0 to 6 figures in my early 20s, didn't know what the hell I was doing, hardly had any mentors at that point, had no car. I went and be able to get my own place, I got a car, and I began to live life and enjoy life. Started making $6,000 or $7,000. I remember the first time in my life I was able to take a vacation. I went to Puerto Rico. I brought my dad. The only trip, I didn't grow up with my dad. He was in prison when I was born, but the only vacation I've ever done with my dad was that one. Because I could afford it, because I was willing to invest and put money in. So these people that say paid programs are BS and a scam, well, if they're a scam, don't sell any books. Don't sell any audio books, because that's online, and their courses. Maybe I'll just change the name of my programs to ebooks. 50% of the profit in books now comes from ebooks. I don't see anybody calling ebooks a scam. I find them convenient. I find online programs to be convenient because I can just have my phone. I'm on an airplane. I didn't bring a book. I just log in and watch the information. Videos are also sometimes a better way to learn. Some people need to see it demonstrated. I have online programs with videos because sometimes I read that the number one way people learn is visual and kinesthetic, where you see it demonstrated and you visually see it. Only about 10% of people learn by reading or audio. So audiobooks and video is the wave of the future. I actually happen to be one of the 10%. I think I can learn audio, but I realize that most people don't. So even though I read a lot, okay, I recognize that other people learn in different ways. So a lot of people out there knocking shit that they don't understand, and it's a sad thing because it's leading people astray. When you see somebody saying something like that, correct them. They might have good intentions, but they're leading people astray. It doesn't matter where you get your information from. It matters whether you'll have an ROI on the information. Warren Buffett says he'll spend any amount of money. He'll invest any amount of money if the ROI is there. He just bought an airplane parts company. He took $40 billion cash and invested it. Is he a fool? Or does he think he'll make more than $40 billion back? Was my friend wise or penny wise and dollar foolish to not buy that book, but be willing to buy $100, $150 shoes? Now, I like nice shoes, but if you look at my annual expenditures, I don't spend more on shoes than I do on information, knowledge. I'm hungry and thirsty to learn because I realize you got to stay on the cutting edge. Throughout history, the people on the cutting edge are the ones who make it. You want to make money, you want to be an entrepreneur, you better be on the cutting edge. And if you got to pay for that information, if you got a parachute to find that information, get in an airplane and jump out of the plane. That's how the game goes. Not many people can do it, and I understand that people learn different ways. Don't call my programs a scam, especially if you sell books.